We've had a heartbreaking situation here.
Collapsing face first into the hardwood and placed in a medically induced coma.
Keyontae's life was saved, but his basketball future was in question. Cleared to play and looking for a fresh start, Keyontae transferred to Kansas State.
Lobs it up. Johnson inside, and it goes.
Nobody expected this.
Johnson with a throwdown. Oh my!
Still trying to make it to the NBA.
Man, is there any better sporting event than a single elimination 64-team tournament? Because I can't think of one. March Madness, the insanity that comes around every spring, is peak sports enjoyment, in my opinion at least. Game after game after game, some happening at the same time of just pure basketball. 48 games happen in the first 4 days. With that many games, inevitably there are going to be some compelling storylines that catch the attention of fans. We see it every year, including this year with upsets like number 13 Furman taking down number 14 Virginia on a last-second turnover and game winner, number 15 Princeton taking down the Pac-12 champs number 2 Arizona, and of course Fairleigh Dickinson becoming just the second 16 seed ever in the tournament to win their matchup against the 1 seed, taking the 1 seed all-time record down to 150-2. But the great stories don't just stop at the Cinderella stories like Princeton still being alive in the Sweet 16. The defending champs Kansas fell in the second round. The 2 best teams in the country, Alabama and Houston, are on a possible collision course towards the final. And the question of if Gonzaga, a small school that has become a powerhouse of the tournament, can finally get over the hump and win their first championship. But to me, the biggest story and the one that should be getting talked about the most is the comeback of Keyontae Johnson over at Kansas State. Coming out of high school, Keyontae was the 69th ranked player in the country and committed to play at Florida. In his first year with the Gators, Johnson averaged a solid 8 points and 6.5 rebounds per game, helping the team reach the March tournament, upsetting Nevada before they would lose to Michigan in the second round. Johnson took a huge step up in his sophomore season to lead the team in scoring with 14 points per game to go along with 7 rebounds, and the team looked poised for another crack at the tournament after a run at the SEC championship. But they wouldn't get a chance for either, as it was 2020 and all NCAA tournaments were canceled because of COVID. A year later though, Keyontae looked ready to try and lead the team to a successful season and a deep tournament run in what was expected to be his final season in Gainesville before heading to the NBA as a possible first-round pick. It would be his last year playing for Florida, but for a reason that no one could have expected. Just 4 games into the season, in a game against Florida State, Keyontae Johnson went up for a successful alley-oop, came down fine, then went face first into the hardwood. Johnson was in a coma for 3 days before he woke up to his parents at his bedside in the hospital. He was diagnosed with an athlete's heart, an increase in his cardiac mass, basically an enlarged heart, which threatened the rest of his career before his career had even started. After this incredibly scary situation, it was great news just to see him wake up. But people weren't even sure if he was going to be able to play ever again. Keyontae wanted to play again for Florida, but the Gator doctors didn't want to risk it and never cleared him to play a game the next season, even though he was cleared by 2 different doctors, one from the Mayo Clinic and one from the NBA Players Association. At this point, Keyontae Johnson had 2 choices: either transfer to a different school that would let him play out his senior season, or the choice that many would have probably made, take a $5 million payday from the NCAA's insurance policy. The only catch? He would never be able to play another college or professional game of basketball ever again. He turned down that $5 million and turned to Kansas State as his rebirth site, a program that had just gone 14-17 the year before and had just hired new coach Jerome Tang, someone who had been an assistant coach for the past 20 years with Baylor. Not only that, but K-State only had 2 players on roster at one point during the summer after the other 10 players transferred out. After getting some others to transfer in alongside Johnson, the Wildcats were still counted out, picked to finish dead last in the Big 12. Kansas State said fuck that and instead went on a tear to start the season, going 15-1, including 3 straight OT victories over 3 ranked opponents: number 24 West Virginia, number 6 Texas, and number 19 Baylor. They looked to be cooling down after a loss to number 17 TCU, but bounced right back with their biggest win all season, another OT win, this time over defending champs and in-state rival Kansas on a game-winning alley-oop dunk from Keyontae. Ultimately though, after reaching the heights of number 5 ranked in the country, Johnson and Kansas State struggled to end the season, losing 6 of their final 12 games heading into the Big 12 tournament. Third in the conference, they were expected to challenge Texas and Kansas for the title, but lost to TCU in their first game. Keyontae had found his home though, and showed out all season, putting up 17.5 points and 7 rebounds per game, forming a power duo with Marquise Noel's 17 points and 8 assists. One of the 2 dudes that stuck around from last year's K-State team. Heading into the March Madness tournament, Johnson and the Wildcats got ranked as a 3 seed in the East, matched up against Montana State in the first round. Led by Johnson's 18 points, the Wildcats held the Bobcats at arm's length all game, controlling it down to the end for a 77-65 first round win. While there are no easy matchups in the tourney, just ask Purdue about that, Montana State isn't exactly a blue blood, unlike the opponent they would find themselves up against in the next round, Kentucky. The game against Kentucky was back and forth, and Coach Tang knew if he wanted to beat them, he needed his 2 stars to play as much as they could. Johnson's heart problem didn't seem to be a problem though, because he played all but 2 minutes of the game. Oscar Tshiebwe dominated down low for Kentucky all game long with 25 points and 18 rebounds, and also got 21 points from Cason Wallace. Johnson was locked up for most of the game with only 10 points with 2 minutes left, and Kansas State would have had no hope if it wasn't for Noel, who just couldn't miss. The 5'7" guard had 27 points and 9 assists, some of which were nothing short of spectacular. But Keyontae Johnson, when he hadn't all night, showed up when it mattered the most and hit a dagger 3 in the clutch to finish off Kentucky and send his new team to the Sweet 16. As I record this, it's Wednesday the 22nd, the day before they're slated to face off against 7-seed Michigan State. With the Spartans upsetting 2-seed Marquette and Purdue collapsing in the first round against FDU, Johnson and Kansas State are the highest remaining seed left in the East and wouldn't have to face a higher seed than themselves until the Final Four, if they make it, where they could run into the highest seed in the country, Alabama. Personally, I'm rooting for Keyontae to take this Wildcat team all the way, because how could you not? The man turned down $5 million to chase his basketball dreams. The team could have been irrelevant like predicted at the beginning of the season, and his story would have faded. Instead, here he is, the best player on a team in the hunt for a national championship. Whatever happens Thursday though, or for the rest of the games he possibly plays, I don't want his story to end here. He didn't turn down $5 million to play another year of college ball. He did it for a chance at the NBA. Right now his name's in talks for a possible 2nd round pick, but with his heart condition, is a team really willing to risk a pick on him? Truly, I don't know. But if he shows out and leads this K-State team a year removed from a losing record to a championship, or at least a Final Four appearance, but in an ideal world, a championship, maybe, just maybe, he could sneak his way into the back end of the first round of the 2023 draft. And no matter what happens, I'll be rooting for him to make his NBA dream come true. The one he risked generational wealth and his own health for. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed, because that's the end of the video. If you made it this far, I'm sure you did enjoy, so maybe leave a like, maybe consider subscribing. This was recorded, like I said, before the games in the Sweet 16, before the Elite 8. I don't know what happens in those games. Hopefully he's still in the tournament. Odds are he might not be, but who knows? Who knows? I hope he's still in. I hope he made it to the Final Four. That'll be awesome for my video, right? But I don't think his story and this video becomes irrelevant if he didn't make it, if he did get eliminated. I still think this story is really impactful and the best story of the year, really. And I think it's important that we talk about it, because I've seen people talk about it, but I haven't seen it really get the spotlight that it deserves, because I really do think it deserves a spotlight. So I wanted to do that. Anyways, if I seem a little tired, this was my 2nd time I had to record this, because the first time OBS just decided to not record my audio, and I didn't realize until late in the night. It's midnight right now, and I have class at 9, so I'm pissed. I've been trying to cover the whole video. I'm pissed. But yeah, made it through. Hopefully you guys enjoyed, and I am gonna go to sleep now. Hopefully you guys enjoy the games. Hopefully there are good games coming up that you guys already saw that I'm going to see in the next coming days. And hopefully we get some good Final Four games, a good championship game. Give me one buzzer beater in the Final Four or championship game. I'll be happy. I'll be happy with that. Anyways, see ya. Good night. I'm off to bed.